420, damn it.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
You like music, you like weed, well, we gonna be good friends indeed. This is how much I like more than smoking trees. They'll make you dance the do-si-do and teach you how the chiva grows. Smoke a bowl on the 420 radio show. On Lifestyle Radio.
Hey, hi. Ooh, Thea did it again there, Marcel.
Weird.
Yeah, I know. Maybe we have to wait a second before.
Why didn't Darcy's mic unmute?
Why does Lennie look like a stunned muffin?
The Marine's something and tired.
Hello.
Was
Welcome.
it good to read, like worth sharing type thing? Or?
Welcome to the 420 Radio
No,
Show.
just a Facebook post. Nothing
Facebook
of any interest.
Nothing of any interest. No? Okay. So, hi, Jack.
Hey, guys. How are ya?
I'm going to make you big so we can see your smiling face. We've missed you. You've been busy boy.
You've shut down on my end. I can't see you. Oh, there you are.
No, you can't see me
Great.
anymore. There you go. All right, so
Jack's sporting his new do, and
Jack's got a new do. He doesn't have his afro, and he's growing a little beardy beard.
That's right. Yeah, no more hairy Jack. I'm all business now, man.
Yeah, wait till the end of the summer.
This is Business Jack.
Yeah.
Jack. So what's
Is it a New Jack City?
a New Jack
Yeah,
City?
dude.
Oh, that
Yeah,
was a
it's total
good one.
New Jack City. That's a very good way to describe
That's a good
my
one.
new professional outlook.
New Jack City, or as I like to call Jack knows shit.
And you don't know Jack.
yeah, and you don't know Jack.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Jack, no shit. Like, you can take that either which way.
I know. I felt bad as it came out. I'm sorry.
Well, no. Now when you say it, like Jack knows shit.
It's in the expression.
Or
Jack knows shit.
Well, being a lawyer, Jack gets privy to a lot of shit. So,
We've lost him now. See, we upset him so much that he left.
You said he didn't know shit.
I'll show you, Al.
Yep, there you go. He'll be back.
he will be back.
So we're going to hang out and chat with Jack today. And sorry, just had 1 second. Oh, okay.
There's 1 second client
yeah,
arrest. Okay,
yeah.
so he's a little working man.
He's got to work for a minute. So we'll continue doing what we do here. This happens a lot, quite frankly. A lot of people, unfortunately, get arrested when Jack's on the show. I don't know.
I
That's
think some of them, maybe cops plan it that way. They're listening to the show. Oh, yeah, he's about to talk. All right, go bust that guy.
Yeah.
Go bust that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So what's the weather like out there?
Cold. Rainy.
No, it's actually kind of clear sky tonight, and it's about 8 degrees.
Maybe where you're at.
It is where I'm at.
We are
Not where me and Lennie are at. It's kind of cold and rainy and cloudy as shit out
We're
there.
on the verge of another polar vortex, as they said this morning.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. We're not getting much of it.
Oh, good. What's about tomorrow, Dale? Why don't you turn your microphone on and speak up? Oh, the weather. Never mind.
Yeah,
I apologize for being so harsh.
He'll be out on his patio.
The weather.
I'm surprised he's not out there tonight.
Fuck, he'll freeze.
Yeah.
I have not had a good day long enough to be outside for more than a few minutes here, unfortunately. It's just been crappy.
I'm just going to check the radar so I can see what's actually going on. Oh, shit. Yeah, are you guys ever into it?
We're going to be.
No, I mean, Darcy and them.
Oh.
Well, yeah. I told you it was rainy and shitty out.
Oh, no, it's going to get worse. There's another big system building up. The end of it, you're going to get a big torrential downpour, and then that'll be it.
Nice.
I'm in the house now. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
At least you won't get wet now, Lenny.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
Nope.
Yeah, so the heavy stuff was at Windsor about 6 minutes ago.
In Windsor.
So you should get it within the next 15, 20 minutes.
There it is. I find it.
Let's clock him, Darcy.
Find it.
minutes.
So today
That's what
we're
I'm thinking.
I
we're
better
on
see a downpour. Let's see.
I better see a downpour.
the downpour.
Is it just raining now?
Yeah, kinda.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know what the temperature is there. Hang on.
4 degrees, I think.
All
Oh,
right.
is it really?
So, what are we chatting about while we're waiting for Jack to do his deed?
Let's chat about New York.
We're gonna chat about New York.
Let's chat about New York.
What about New York?
New York blows me away.
Do you think it's true? Is that true?
What did they do now?
Yes. Okay, so New York is coming out with their adult use cannabis laws includes a potency tax.
Oh yes.
And the potency tax charges an amount per milligram of total THC. All right. So the law taxes the distributors 0.5 cent per milligram for the amount of total THC for flower, 0.8 cents per milligram for concentrate, and 3 cents per milligram of THC for edibles. So right away, your 10 milligram edibles got a 30-cent extra charge tax on it.
Wow.
The state sales tax is 9%, and localities or individual locations, villages, towns, cities, whatever, can impose their own taxes. They're looking at the overall tax rate for flower as high as 30% and as much as 55% for edibles. So more than half the cost of your edibles is going to be taxes.
What do they charge you per milligram for the dried flower?
0.5 cent per milligram.
What does that compare to here?
The $1 a gram doesn't matter.
It's $1 a gram, flat rate.
Okay. $1 a gram.
Yeah.
I'd like
and
to know
3
where I
cents
can
per
get something
milligram
for $1 a gram.
For edibles.
0.0.
And edibles would include all your tinctures,
So if
things
you
like
had
that.
a 30% weed, you're paying $1.50 tax on a gram.
Mm-hmm.
$5.25 on like a 3.5 or 1/8. Canada, that would be 3.5.
Yeah.
So it's
So now what their problem is next door is Massachusetts, and they've got a maximum of 20% tax for cannabis. So now they're afraid that they're going to have a lot of people leaving New York to go to Massachusetts to bring cannabis back. But at the same time, New York State also has a lot of reserves that have opened up cannabis dispensaries, and they don't charge any taxes. So the state of New York might want to rethink this one.
As Kelly says, they're crooks.
Yeah, I mean, they want to make money. They want to make money off of this because they've got to try and recoup costs of all the money they've spent for the last 2 years. So tax coffers are low. They're going to jack taxes up wherever they can do it. But the problem is if people can go to the reserves and get it completely tax free, or just cross the border into Massachusetts and get it at only a 20% tax rate versus up to a 55%.
yeah, but have you driven from New York City to Massachusetts? It's not like that convenient to do.
No, but more so for people along the border.
On the border, that's going to happen anyway, right?
Yeah. I mean, that'll be given. It would be the same here. If New Brunswick had lower taxes on cannabis here.
What's the tax? This is the stupid. Like, what's Colorado's tax?
I don't know.
I'm
I'll
just
find
like
out.
these states coming online. It's like right off the get-go, you get Colorado that's been like that for what, 5-6 years?
Colorado was the first.
California.
Colorado was the first state that legalized.
But then
right?
there's all kinds of states that have been doing it for years.
But it was a couple.
Canada's model.
It was a couple of years before.
All retail marijuana and retail marijuana products sold in Denver are subject to the general sales tax of 4.31%, as well as a special tax rate of 5.5% for a combined sales tax rate of 9.81%.
So what do we pay here?
It's not a percent. It's just a flat tax per gram.
So that's
now
plus your HST.
Yeah, what's on concentrate? 0.001 or something per milligram, or
what was that?
Penny a milligram, or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Which is a little stupid too, but crazy.
Yeah, especially if you have 1,000 milligrams there.
Do they do the same thing with potatoes and carrots?
No, because there's no THC in potatoes or carrots. Just thought I'd point that out, Al.
What you drinking, buddy? What you drinking?
Get some Pepsi.
Ah, I got water here. I bet you Marcel's got a scotch in front of him, or he will have shortly. Oh, I heard a squig. He just...
Dale, no. I'm reading the chat, and I'm too lazy to type it, so I'll just answer, no, Dale.
But he's got something for you.
Yeah, but I'm not going down on Sunday. I'm waiting until it snows on Tuesday.
Oh, you getting snow too?
Yeah, on Tuesday. We're only supposed to get about 5 centimeters here.
We'll probably close schools. Probably the last one of the year. So.
They'll probably close schools 5 centimeters of snow.
Oh no, we'll get a snowstorm in April. You wait and see.
You
always find there's one you get one just before Easter.
You always get a smelt. You always get a smelt storm.
Yeah, the farmers need it. That's their fertilizer for the spring.
Oh, sorry.
Sure you are.
No, I really was.
You never really shared this.
Shared what?
The show.
Yes, I did.
Did you? Haven't seen it yet. No notifications.
It's right there on my wall.
Normally I get notified.
Maybe
it doesn't like me anymore.
No.
Hey, Al?
No. Yes, sir.
There's some platinum, Bubba.
Let me see. Well, hold on. I got windows open. Let's make it book. Platinum Bubba. Now, okay, so tell us about this strain. It looks nice. Really closely trimmed, eh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's platinum Bubba. And then this one here is gelato.
Okay, hold on one sec. I can't add everybody and look. You can keep talking though. You know, you're more than welcome to, because I can't see what anybody's doing at the moment.
It's a nice looking bud too.
That one's gelato. It's a better gelato, and my bag. Which way did I put it? Oh, it's way over there. 1 second.
Oh, I wanted to see him wheel away with still plugged in.
You're a fucking bully.
That is kind of prickish.
It is funny to watch him do it.
True, but you're still a bully.
That's pinned. That's 8 minutes ago.
Are we're watching Darcy, or is that what we're doing?
No, I'm watching.
It rolls back in.
I'm sharing this.
We have 8 minutes before we get this heavy rain, Darcy. Oh, you can't hear me.
He's waiting.
8 minutes before the heavy rain comes, Darcy.
No, it's not raining up there yet.
8 minutes.
Yeah, Marcel. Well, you better hope it rains in 8 minutes.
Is it?
No, yes,
I thought it was raining. You said it was raining there the whole time. How are you going to know?
Drizzling raining, not downpour.
Dale, Tuesday.
So now we know where who are you again? Marcel is
I
going
just
to be on
finished saying
Tuesday.
I was waiting until Tuesday.
He'll be next
That's
door to
my favorite
Darcy's.
one. That's my favorite one, Lenny. It's Animal Face.
Oh, okay.
Animal face.
Oh
Okay,
my
let me make
God.
you big again. Let me try it again. Try it. There we go.
Animal cookies crossed with Face Off.
Yep.
Oh, that's nice. Is it a legal weed?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah, it's legal. It's legal. Yeah, it's legal.
Wait, does it have a sticker? Did it come with a little excise
We
stamp?
we need Jack to cross-examine him.
I have a sticker here. If you wanna use it, it didn't rip right the hole in half there. If you want to put it on your bag.
That doesn't mean anything. You could have just shoved that into
He's
another
just
bag.
reading that fucking bag. He didn't come out of that bag.
Turn that
Come
bag
over that
around.
bag.
Let me see the other side of that bag. Now turn it around.
Yeah,
Take your finger off. Take your finger off the label.
What does it say? Normal weed?
I can't, Marcel. I am protecting an entity.
Sure. Gray market.
Yeah.
The gray. The legacy
Medical
market.
No.
The legacy
No,
market.
because there is still the ability that you can share with your friends
Well,
and neighbors.
these are the things that I want to ask Jack. So let's
to
wait
announce.
for that because, there's a lot of discrepancy in what you can and can't do. And in this day and age in 2022, it'd be nice to know if you're really allowed to do things like have bud swap gatherings with friends and, things like that. So let's wait on that stuff until Jack comes back because those are things I wanted to ask about, if that's all right. What's in the news? Is there anything that you liked?
I think it was just New York.
Jumping out. Is that all I posted?
Oh, no. There was more.
There was lots
I'm not
more.
done.
I posted a lot of news this morning, I believe. Let me go look at my page.
Listen, I am not done.
I don't think he's done, Len.
You got some more there, Marcel, do you?
Oh, news? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do.
Like 7 days worth there. So,
There's a lot of news on mushroom, but I want to wait until Jack comes back because I've got some questions on mushroom. But there is, of course, always cannabis news, and one of the cannabis news in the last little bit is Aurora got bigger again, and they bought Terra Pharma.
Yes.
Yeah, for $38 million.
Nice.
Yes, it is.
Is that going to be good? Is that going to be good for the industry, or is it just going to be another big guy grabbing up the little guy?
I'm okay with it because my little guy was better than that little guy anyway. So,
well, that's a nice. What are we talking about, Len?
That doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt our company evaluation. Put it that way.
Yes. No. I
Right. Thrive.
Removing some of the competition never hurts.
No, it's not that. It's just I was like, oh, so they're 38 million, are they?
Yeah, Aurora announced that Tuesday it acquired Thrive Cannabis, which is the parent company of Terra Pharma. A cash and stock deal worth $38 million, and Thrive will be eligible for up to $20 million in shares.
Jack's back. Shut up.
Or both.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. If it reaches revenue targets within 2 years of transaction, so there's a substantial bonus for them if they can hit their targets. But Thrive is best known for its flagship adult use brand Greybeard Cannabis Company, which was recognized as the top recommended brand by Canadian bud tenders in 2021 and was the 2021 winner of Best Concentrate from the Kind Magazine Awards as voted for by bud tenders.
And how come we've never heard of them until now?
I've seen Thrive products. I mean, I don't.
I've seen Greybeard good stuff.
I've seen Thrive, like the words.
Stuff, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
For me, it's kind of useless, that part. I don't go to the dispensaries. I don't
do.
need to go to the
I've started
dispensary.
going. Yes, I've gone legal. Just until I go up to the res, though.
or Darcy's house.
Or Darcy's house, yes.
Hey, you can't get to me.
Oh, I can.
So-
24 hours, buddy. I could be there.
That's a long fucking drive for a bag of weed, Al.
I know. I've done it, though.
As
No,
a
I'm kidding.
consumer, Al,
Yes.
when you go to the dispensary, what are you looking for?
I usually go online. I look at what they say about certain strains that I'm looking at, and then I look to see if there's any online reviews. I like all buds because they, it's actual people, right, that are writing the reviews. And if I can't find anything, I might shy away from it unless it's on sale. But I ask questions, and I squish the bag. I always squeeze the bag. That's my thing.
So when you go, you're literally buying always by the ounce?
Usually, yes. I buy an ounce.
I only say that because a lot of other people are using plastic jars, tin cans.
I'm glad you brought that up because with Jack here, we can ask this question. See, okay, now I usually go in, Jack, and I get from the legal store. I'll get an ounce and then a couple of grams of hash, and I always have to argue with them. Well, you'll have to come back in a half an hour or whatever. I'm just like, no. First of all, I'm fucking medical, and I got my paperwork in the car, so if a cop comes along, I'll show him the receipt, tell him to fuck off, and I'll walk away. Okay? But they always get defensive. Not always. I mean, the guys that know me, I go to the same place all the time. But they get a little bit defensive when I say, no, you can't. I said, I've had your boss on my show. Okay? I know what I can get away with. So, anyways, what is the actual law and what can we do to skirt around it? Because I know that they do sit outside some of the legal stores. They do look for receipts, and they do still harass people when they're coming out of them.
Well, I don't know. I think much more so in regards to compliance with the COVID ordering protocols, but because there was this whole argument that they weren't in compliance with the registry standard. But I guess I'm going to respond in. It's a super interesting and complicated question. So number one, as a medical patient, you're entitled. Based on your prescription, but it maxes out at 150 grams. So you're entitled to have that 150 grams plus 30 additional grams of recreational. And so I know this because Todd Kane, the director of Health Canada, as he then was, said that on cross-examination. So that's their position. And really what I think that was about was that in the federal regulators' view, it's all recreation. Because they don't buy medical, they just hate medical patients. That's just the nature of it.
The program is recreational.
But either way, 80 grams, I'll take it. I don't care if you despise me and think I'm a liar or something. I'm going to take this benefit. So that's it is what it is. But so your possession limit really is 180 grams if you're medical. But so that's according to the federal rules. Yeah. But of course, with cannabis in Canada, the way that our genius government has figured out how to regulate it, we have a set of interlocking prohibitions from both the federal and the provincial governments. And so the federal rule
one asshole saying no medical, to the other.
Yeah. So the federal rule, if you're medical, is 180 grams. But the provincial rule is and they use the same equivalency ratios from the Cannabis Act and its regulations is 30 grams. So the store, and the reason that they're giving you a hard time is that because this is why they're not really it's not like the Alcohol and Gaming Commission is sitting outside of stores in Ontario monitoring people that are buying because they don't have to. You have to have at the store a POS system.
There's supposed to be a compliance officer in every store as well, is there not?
Well, there's compliance officers spread throughout the province that manage all of the stores, and they're watching to make sure they're irresponsible sales aren't happening and things like that. But if somebody were to sell more
They're going to see it on the transaction record.
Right. So all they need to do is multiple transactions.
They have to do it as multiple transactions.
That's what I always say. Yeah.
And there's no problem with that. Like, so really, your issue, in my view, Al, is that it irks. Like, and you would be in compliance with the law, literally, if you made purchase one, your whatever purchase,
and then came
back, drop it in your car, walk right back in and make purchase two. You're in compliance.
The first time,
I think that's hypocritical, but
the first time I encountered, I was like, oh, okay, and I did that, and then I said, no, wait a minute, like the one thing I have to be critical of thus far with the legal store is there's no consistency.
No rainstorm, Marcel.
There's no consistency as far as customer relations and stuff like that. Every store is different. They have to take a bud tending course, of course, but they're still their own person. They should be able to adapt a little, and it doesn't seem like they are. They're either this is the way that it has to be done. If you don't like it, leave. Or, you know what I mean? Like, there's no happy middle I'm not finding, really.
Well, here's another question, I guess, sort of for Jack, and this is from my own perspective, because I do have a medical sales license with possession.
He says as he wipes his eyes.
No, I am. I'm just trying to think how to phrase this.
Yes, I know.
That literally I can start selling probably next week once my credit card vendor works. Now, when I was getting my license with Health Canada, from the federal aspect, they think medical sales has to be online and medical delivered only. So that might be the other issue that's pressure at those recreational dispensaries that they're not legally supposed to fill based on the federal rules medical product.
Yeah, they're prohibited from doing it.
Yeah,
I was going to say, yeah.
So that's probably the other complication. Again, you can't, as like the medical patient, Al, you can't get in trouble for a possession limit, but
they can get in
go
trouble
after the dispensary because you're not supposed to be dispensing for medical patients.
Hey, Lenny, you said it has to be mailed out to you because it's got to go through that certain channel.
Yeah.
Now, what about
delivered, whatever way you want it.
Now, what if you had a security cleared security guard that was delivering that, say, in your town or say in your
security? My understanding is a security cleared person could do that.
It has to be an employee of the company. It can't be another company.
That's Ontario's provincial law.
Oh, is that just Ontario?
Yeah, but I'm under the impression that a security cleared person for medical federal, it just has to be delivered to the patient.
Oh, you're talking your medical
has to go to the house. Okay. If I want to go FedEx or UPS or Canada Post, or if I happen to have a security cleared person that has the legal ability to do the transport.
So let's make this simple for somebody. I get medical from you, from Truro. I have to sign for it when I get it to prove that I've got it.
That's there's actually no legal requirement for
an
actual signature.
No, I don't sign for anything from Health Canada Canada Post anymore when I order.
Really?
You don't have to.
I don't.
He knocks on my door, drops it, and takes off.
Yeah, they do that here too. That doesn't sound right, though, Jack. I mean, shouldn't there? If they want a chain of credentials, shouldn't there be a proper chain of receipt when you buy it?
It's tracked. It is tracked by Canada Post, but the end signature, I don't think is a mandate.
Wow. Yeah. It's okay. I'm sick of mandates, anyways.
Yeah, I shouldn't use that word, but no, it is tracked, Al.
Yeah, dude, we're going on a mandate to Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Yeah, buddy. We'll go and assault people at the Tweed booth. They have they still have. I haven't been in a few years, but I think the last concert I went to was Ozzy, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but I think what Darcy was saying, if I wanted to deliver to Darcy and Truro, If Turo wanted to deliver Darcy, like say Turo Cannabis or Optimus, whatever.
Yep.
Darcy has a prescription. If we have a security clear person that's legally able to possess and transfer the product, works for the company, as long as we have the paperwork and the signature
and I guess Canada Post is authorized. So Canada Post would be an authorized security.
Well, we're just Canada Post is who we're using.
Yeah, no. But I mean, like they are an authorized secure agent for delivery. They're allowed to do it.
Yeah.
They always have been. Yeah.
But they have the tracking, is what it is.
Now they have to track it, though, don't they?
But no, for whatever reason, we always found that really weird. You don't actually need someone to sign for it at the house.
So what happens now with mail order and stuff, Jack, with things changing? Are they going to allow people to do the mail order still? Are they still going to allow the delivery services? Like I remember when they kind of backed off last summer, then they said, oh, now you can't do the delivery anymore. But then 2 months later, right back to it. And that's what seems to be working.
So, it's forever now. So in Ontario, curbside and delivery are forever. So cannabis stores can deliver and they can offer curbside service. That was basically entered into the registry standards for Ontario. So that it's like COVID was pretty crummy for 2 years, but that change that it forced, we get to keep now. So kudos. So rarely we get to thank the government for something, but that's pretty cool. So thank you, government. Yay. Yeah. And then the other good news is a whole host of changes were proposed.
Yes, we were gonna touch
cannabis
that.
Stores in Ontario, starting in July, and they've changed a major one so that white labeling from licensed producers would be allowed to continue. So there was what is described as massive industry pushback. I'm not convinced that that's what it was, but so anyway, there was a mass uprising. I don't know if I think that just the margins are so tight. Some fairly large companies were complaining, or at least their sales forces were. But in any event, the white label change is no more. So for a variety of retailers that were getting these, what I would consider questionable kickbacks for stocking certain products and allowing LPs to exercise, again, some very questionable levels of control.
They used to call it payola, Jack.
Yeah. So a lot of this, what I, as a lawyer, I look at and go like this, it sort of walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. In any event, they're entitled to, or not disentitled from continuing that activity. So I remain unconvinced that it's compliant, but they're doing it, and they're so big, I think that they're unlikely to face serious censure for it. I think that the federal and provincial regulators for the foreseeable future will continue to prefer targeting vulnerable individuals rather than large multinational corporations.
What about advertising? Are they going to loosen that up?
Are you shocked? Are you shocked at this news I'm bringing you? It sounds like you're not shocked at all.
I'm kind of sick of their game, to be honest with you. Is what it is.
I know what Jack's been talking about, but I also commented is like, how do you really catch or police those things, right?
Yeah.
The dispensary's not going to complain. The LP's not going to complain. Like, it's pretty hard to monitor. Like, they don't have access to their books, just their transactions.
And the libertarian in me says, like, well, there's freedom to contract, or a crazy contract they want to sign, right? Like, that's the opposite side of it. So I can't like, I'm not.
No, I think they should be allowed. Like, listen, we're not an LP that can afford to do all that shit, right?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Listen, if a big giant public company wants to do that, good fucking luck and make money. I just don't think you can. The issue with the white boxing is
what exactly is white boxing?
So Turo Cannabis has Wedding Mint, right? So I'm just picking Cabana, whatever. Weeds
Cabana.
Are Us, whatever fucking dispensary.
Yep.
So say they wanted to have Turo Wedding Mint, but they wanted to have Weeds Are Us Wedding Mint. We would label the product, and the brand name would be Weeds Are Us.
And you know what? I've not seen any stores that have the same product by different companies. Always just one.
And here's why. No, but here's why you can't the white boxing is a problem.
Okay.
Truro Cannabis can't sell Weeds R Us directly, the product. It has to get listed and go to the OCS warehouse.
Yes.
And technically, anything that goes to the OCS warehouse is available to any dispensary in Ontario. So, was it the Cabana one? They could go buy Weeds R Us's product and put it on the fucking shelf. So it doesn't really work, the white boxing in Ontario. Mind you, it's why do you want to carry another store's brand in your store? It's kind of weird. But
White boxing would be more on the processing side, where somebody is processing and formulating, and then they're packaging it up into whichever.
It's just whatever label and package they want.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they'll be able to use logos now and stuff, or no?
If they want, but it's a really hard deal to coordinate because, trust me, it is a very long process to get anything into the OCS warehouse.
I know that it took Matt hundreds of phone calls to get Shatterizer into the OCS. I mean, they just were relentless. They wanted to know this. They want to know everything about it.
Oh, even when he gets approval, it's a 2-month process.
Yeah.
Just the paperwork.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
I'll say it's a nightmare.
No doubt. Not something I want to
That's why I
go
say
through.
the white boxing. That's why I think OCS said, "Oh yeah, go ahead, you can do white boxing." Good fucking luck getting it through. They still hold the trump card.
So
Yeah.
what about advertising these days? I mean, like, it's okay for some and not okay for others. Like, it doesn't seem fair as far as a business practice goes to not let businesses advertise their product. It's like I'm seeing articles and people posting that some smaller stores in smaller towns are removing any product from the store, so they don't have any window covering. They're playing that game. I think it's Woodstock Cannabis, I think, is one of the first ones that tried to do that. As Jack knows, even at the lounge, we had to have covering in our windows. Like, is that stuff ever going to change, Jack? I mean, it seems at this point, when you walk past a restaurant down on Bloor, and people are sitting outside drinking a beer, you should be able to have edibles at least. I know the whole smoking argument. We've been arguing about that for years. But you should be able to have treats and stuff like that by now. But they're not. They're not even allowed to do that.
At bars?
Not necessarily bars, but you should be able to get a treat and walk down the street and have it and stuff like that.
That's up to you. I mean, if you go to the OCS store,
I'm sorry. I went from advertising to treats. I'm sorry. I'm got the munchies.
But yeah, because you kind of lost me there with the advertising, because alcohol, you don't see posters for alcohol.
Oh yes, you do.
What?
All over the city of Toronto.
Are you kidding me?
All over the city of Toronto. Everywhere.
Outside every patio, everyone's tent. It's Mike's Lemonade or this fucking seltzer.
Oh yeah, I suppose yeah.
Hey, last
Well,
year
the Molson Center.
Jack, what's it like to drive? Jack knows what's it like to drive down the QEW these days. Okay, advertising from one end to the other. There's weed advertising. There's alcohol. There's food. There's movies. You name it.
So who's
it's
advertising weed?
Tweed's got stuff going on. That's about all I see now. They seem to be the ones that push it.
So what's Tweed pushing? How does Tweed?
Well,
push
you're
their
driving down the road, Marcel, and a big tween pops up.
It just says Tweed.
It just says Tweed.
It just says Tweed.
It just says hi or something with a smiley face.
Well, I think that was their old campaign. But yeah, stuff like that. You still see that. Like I said to Jack, I was joking. The last time I went to a concert, wasn't the last time, but it was just before legalization. Tweed had a big booth. Canopy had a big booth in the center of the Budweiser stage munchie area, and they were soliciting people. They were doing questionnaires. They were taking names. They were getting customers, is what they were doing. This is before legalization. And then for a while, as Jack will attest to, I'm trying to sound all lawyery, you drove down the QEW or the Lakeshore, and it was weed. Not so much now, but you do see it. You do see it because of you see advertising for the weed store. They've got billboards on Vic Park. Come and visit us. Things like that.
Right. So, well, there is kind of two issues there. So there's the advertising issue and there's the public consumption issue.
Yeah.
So, and I think that Marcel hit the nail on the head when he said, like, you totally can purchase an edible and just eat it while you walk down the street. So we're almost there. Really, the main issue is similar to, your lounge back in the day or any lounge. So it's happening in the States, oddly enough, but we don't have it. And then finally, you asked regarding advertising and promotion, and that remains just one of the most aggressively and unreliably enforced aspects of
the whole thing.
Legalization. Yeah. And the promotion prohibitions are similar to the criminal prohibitions in that there's a mix of federal and provincial prohibitions. So they're all constantly, skirting what's allowed with their advertising. And it's funny because I don't like to complain about. I prefer them to go nuts because I like talking about cannabis and seeing cannabis everywhere. And I often wonder, even with I spent the majority of my adult life producing books about the cannabis plant. And I go, am I in violation? Like I did one book that had over 1,000 high definition pictures of cannabis.
Technically, I would think technically, while you were studying for the bar, you were breaking the law. Technically.
And so there is what hangs over all of this, because I don't agree. I don't think that I broke the law in the slightest.
Yeah.
But just for clarity, lest Green Candy Press strangle me here. Yeah. But my point is that we've got Section 2B of the Charter, and Section 2B of the Charter protects free expression, and it protects listeners in the same way that it protects speakers. And I think that the core fight in regards to the communication about weed stores and LPs and things like that relates to what's called commercial expression. And I don't know when it's going to happen, but eventually there's going to be a fight about what's protected under commercial expression, because the government's going to say
copyright and everything
is product availability and pricing. That's it. That's it. And our position's going to be no. Far more is protected by 2B. And we'll try to expand what we were able to communicate about. But, look at alcohol. There's ads on all the time of, people in bikinis drinking beer, hanging out. And, imagine that for weed, right? I think the latest ads are somebody is purportedly super high and doing something extraordinarily dangerous. And it just makes me laugh, when I think of, the sheer number of fatalities each year from alcohol impaired driving. It's are you serious? You're going nuts about cannabis?
Well,
Jack?
Yes.
I watch a lot of extreme sports, and I noticed at the X Games this year, this year. Yeah, it was this year. I seen advertisements on the side of some of their bikes for weed maps.
Well, they're going gangbusters. It was in the States, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going gangbusters in the States. The promotion prohibitions, they're not dealing with it. And then half the time, see the way in the States, and again, I'm not giving legal advice about America. I'm not an American lawyer, but the way that the Farm Bill worked there, it basically just did blanket legalization of cannabidiol. So CBD products, they can go all over the place. So maps is still fully functional there, whereas they've kind of become They had to become very cautious in Canada because it's so easy to target them with sanctions.
Wow. It's craziness, man. Oh, light break.
Light break.
What are you smoking, Jack?
It's a Dynafem strain. I think it was their Auto Haze, which I became kind of obsessed with.
Did you?
But I gifted some seeds to a friend, and they grew it, and they call They grew it. So I gave, and it tastes and smokes like the haze. So I assume it's the haze. But they called it Quarantina because it was like their quarantine garden project.
Nice.
It's pretty fun, actually. So I'm smoking that.
Hi, Lexi.
I like Dynafem. They got some really nice genetics.
Yeah. It was very sad what happened to them in Spain. They were based in like Bilbao, like way north. It's almost like a breakaway region. And then the like tax authorities from Madrid. It was in the news. I don't know if any. Very sad.
No.
I love their genetics. Yeah.
I I don't know anything about it. Dale asked.
No, screw Dale. I want my. We were talking about. We were talking about this when Jack was on his hiatus.
What?
We said we had to wait until Jack come back.
What?
And
sorry, somebody got arrested. I had to just deal with something. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
That's all right, man.
That's okay.
But
I'm just trying to remember what we were talking about.
Gifting cannabis.
Oh yes, gifting cannabis and events and things like that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Ask away. Or do you want to know sort of like gifting cannabis? So you don't have a positive right. Sort of. It's like only cannabis ends up with this weird mishmash of positive and negative rights. So, like someone with a license to operate a cannabis retail store and say in wherever, they have a positive right? They're allowed to exploit the license. A lawyer would say that, which means like, they have a positive right to sell cannabis at their store, so long as they're in compliance with the regs. A negative right is what relates to the gifting, what we call the gifting provision, but really what the gifting provision is a removal of what used to be the small scale trafficking provision, because like the joke of the law was that like if you passed a joint to someone, you were trafficking, right?
Yeah,
it was clearly simple possession, but that was an act of trafficking in cannabis. And so what they did is they tied the 30-gram personal possession limit Canada-wide to a negative right. So you have no to share cannabis, but you're not prohibited from it. And it's kind of an important distinction because, I'm always hearing, people always have really interesting ideas about like a little business you could start where you're only sharing the cannabis and something else is happening. But the closer it starts looking like a business, the closer it goes from the safe territory of being a negative right. So I had a cannabis joint and it was really tasty. So then I wanted someone else to try it. And so I shared it with them. I'm not disentitled from doing that, right? I'm right. There's no prohibition on that, but it's different than I'm allowed to give cannabis around, and it's kind of it's how I think of it. I don't know if it, I'm no philosopher certainly, but that is as far as how I explain it when I'm dealing with people that are interacting with cannabis regularly. Is like you're not prohibited from sharing up to 30 grams or whatever value as far as the equivalency ratio is concerned. So does that make sense? Is that like
something
so
like
you can share away? I guess
something like a bud swap would be within your rights then. Yeah.
Say it again.
Something like a bud swap would be sort of in your rights if you had a group of people and you all had your own cannabis and you wanted to share it and stuff like that. No sales, just
Yes. So as long as no one's paying money, as long as there's no like ancillary pricing that is really just a subterfuge for that's happening. Yeah, it would actually be pretty fun. So say you grew your 4 plants in your backyard and you had 4 really cool strains, and you wanted to go hang out with some people and share and try some out. Bring
try theirs or try yours.
6 grams of each. share a gram with somebody and then try theirs, and you're like, ooh, I've never had this. I had one the other day called Blue Night, which is this
like we used to.
Yeah. Well, I love that. Like, I'm a genetics nerd, and so I had this one called Blue Night that it was really fun. Like, did you ever have remember Dr. Atomic's Northern Lights? He had a Northern Lights number 4
Atomic
variety.
Northern Lights. He had Atomic Northern Lights, yeah.
And there was 2 or 3 varietals from that, and one of them, I don't know what it was, but I would die with laughter. I'd just be like a little kid high out of my mind. And I've searched for years trying to track that strain down. But so the idea of it's not prohibited. You could have a bud swap so long as you're only possessing less than 30 grams. So I would love that. And it's not prohibited.
So no,
there's a broader legal question. Like, the evil government might say, well, is it licit cannabis or not? So they might say, you grew this yourself. Where did the genetics come from? And that's the far more sinister argument. But
and that's where they'll try and get you.
I just don't see them ever being able to do it properly. You know what I mean? Where's the foundation of where the argument comes from? Maybe they could say, where'd you buy the seeds? Yeah, maybe they say, where'd you buy the seeds? Maybe they say, we think this is illicit cannabis. But I don't think a court of law is going to stand for that. I think a court of law is going to look and just go, how much cannabis was there?
Have there been cases like that trivial yet?
Well, certainly people are charged over illicit cannabis all the time, or unpackaged cannabis, or unstamped cannabis. But as long as you've got less than 30 grams, the police don't dive into it. Yeah. But I think that the further and deeper into legalization that we get, the more it's going to start looking like alcohol and tobacco. And with alcohol and tobacco, you almost never see it with liquor, because we just get liquor at the liquor store. But technically someone could be making moonshine, I suppose, and you could get in trouble for that. You can get a very serious, it's not necessarily a criminal offense, it's a tax issue. And that's almost worse, because typically in that legislation there's a mandatory doubling of any penalty that they apply to you. But much more so with, say, tobacco, unstamped tobacco, there's a mandatory doubling of any penalty applied to someone. The fines are in the millions, right? And so as sort of the legal cannabis progresses, we're going to end up in this situation where, it's unheard of that someone had had cannabis that didn't have an excise tax stamp on it. This is outrageous. Where did you get it? It must be illicit.
There's no way to control that, though, especially with medical patients growing their own and for plants.
Well, hold up, because a medical patient, that's an open question. And actually, so one of the exciting things that's happened recently is Kirk Tusaw has come back to the practice of law. Yes. So he's working with me again. So it's very exciting. Kirk has, an opinion about the shareability of medical cannabis that I don't know if I think a strict reading of the law would be that you're not entitled to share any of that medical cannabis, right? And so it's only the sharing that you are entitled to only comes from your four recreational plants. That's where your entitlement to share comes from. Now, it's 30 grams of weed. Is anyone ever going to be able to prove any of this? Who knows? But it's not my job to say stuff that's not correct. I'm saying, you're not entitled to share your medical. You are entitled to share, or you're not disentitled from sharing from your 4 recreational.
So don't share your medical, share your recreational.
Yeah, and that's kind of the reality of it. It sounds super boring and stupid, but if a Crown wanted to pursue it, they could just go, all right, well,
if they were looking for something to come after you about, then they could use that.
Yeah, they could say, okay, where'd you get those seeds? Yeah. And the answer might be, well, I don't know. They were in a bag of weed I bought.
I've had them for 20 years.
I just decided to pop them and see what happens.
Exactly. That's what I would say. I've had them for 20 years. I just decided to pop them.
You bought seeds off the internet that were souvenir seeds, and you decided to crack them.
Well, you used to be.
Could you actually get away with saying that though? Because most companies that sell you seeds sell you them as souvenir seeds.
You used to be able to go.
Yeah, so you can very easily be convicted. I've argued that twice. I won one, but on a different issue. So the souvenir argument, I always thought that could probably go all the way up, but the prohibition was very strict in the CDSA as it then was, and it remains very strict in the Cannabis Act. And I think, like with seeds, one of the core issues is that regardless of the souvenir or non-souvenir status, the legislation that you're dealing with, it's not really cannabis legislation at all. It's a federal act called the Seeds and that governs it. Like really, what it's concerned with is contaminants and foreign bodies. Like, so the seed could be some crazy plant from a foreign country that just decimates local wildlife, and so they can just go to town on that against you on the cannabis seed issue. So it's they got rid of a lot of the strict criminal prohibitions, and they opened up this whole can of worms with all these other pieces of law that you can get in trouble with. So it's I think that the only answer that you really ought to give is that you bought them from a licensed cannabis store. These seeds were lawfully purchased, and and
if they want to spend the $1,200 to have it genetically tested, go right ahead. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not entirely sure that they're capable.
Really?
Years ago, not a million years ago, but like say circa 2015, he was doing all that genetic testing, looking at like 2,000 different varietals. Down, like they were so genetically similar. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're going to be able to test it and say this is definitely a different. Like usually it's just like potheads that are like, this is definitely the thing I like. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's when I have a strain, I'd like to be able to get that strain. I'd like that strain to be consistent and the same strain every time. But it's a plant that can't really happen. So yes, in the back of my head, all this regulation says, well, maybe it's a good idea, but some of the rules are just,
I see, Jack, that I guess the government, I see one way that they're going after shutting down some of these online dispensaries, eh? They're going after the domain host.
Yeah.
Well, this is an interesting update. Like, really, what's happening is the community safety unit in British Columbia is just sending out basically like 100 emails a day threatening internet service providers about hosting weed-related websites, and a lot of the websites
really still
are. It's ramped up, so that has massively increased, and it's kind of interesting because they're sending them to like American internet service providers. They're sending them to like European internet service providers, and it's like, so a province isn't entitled to like enforce its laws outside the province.
They're going to push everything onto the dark web.
They're just hoping they can get somebody to bite.
Right. Well, but if you're a lawyer representing an internet service provider and you get a letter from some government agency and it looks pretty serious, you just get rid of you shut the website down. They're just like, I'm not fighting with some crazy government in Canada. Get rid of this website. They pay us $12 a month. They're not worth it.
Back in the day,
I know GoDaddy was doing that
on their part, but I find it very sinister because I think that really what it's targeting is speech. What they don't like is communication, right? And I find that far more sinister than a lot of other, enforcement tactics. Like,
you know what, Jack? In the 90s, it was porn, and now it's weed.
Right.
And
I have no doubt.
The industry now needs to look at what the porn industry online in the 90s went through with billing and charges and freedom of speech and all that. I mean, all joking aside, look at what Larry Flint did. for freedom of speech, and he was at the top of the food chain. Even what's his name, Playboy guy, right? Well, although we're hearing all kinds of nasty little things now about him, but back in the day, it wasn't just about pretty girls in a magazine. It was about, this is freedom of speech, it's art, it's expression. And I think that the cannabis industry needs to look at the way that the porn industry back then manipulated its way through it. Was that?
Well, I think it's beyond that. It's not just cannabis is experiencing it, certainly, as far as banking. So even legal cannabis businesses really struggle. I'm sure you guys experienced it. Trying to get banking for your legal cannabis business is really difficult. And the pornography industry, as far as speech is concerned, my recollection is that often pornographers were, and with Green Candy Press, I did like a lot of cannabis books, but I also did a lot of sex books. And so there's just all these myriad issues around the pornography industry. But the producers and actors and writers of pornographic material would get specific rules from financial institutions about what they were
can and what
were
they
not
can't
entitled
do.
to say or do.
Yeah.
And so freedom of speech was being monitored through financial sanctions far more effectively than through any sort of moral, issue around people having sex or whatever. So I absolutely agree. And I do find that with cannabis as well, that cannabis businesses that are, that there's anything that the bank doesn't like about it, they'll cut off banking suddenly.
I tell you, Jack,
warning.
I went through it firsthand in the 90s. My website back in the day was a webcam site and for consenting adults. And when it first got really big, I was allowed to take all the credit cards, American Express, everything, even the JAP card, okay? Even fucking diner card you could use. But then, all of a sudden, it just got to the internet took over, and all these companies started charging with credit cards, and American Express went, oh, no, and they banned pornographic sites of any kind. Okay. Yeah. And my business tanked after 10 years.
Oh, it's brutal. It's completely brutal. And so I'm troubled by the use of financial to police speech. I'm deeply troubled by that. I don't know if I'm bringing things down. I want to talk about fun stuff.
Okay, let's.
Jack or Dale had a question.
A question, yeah.
That I jumped on. So
Dale doesn't get the questions unless he speaks. No rule.
Yeah, Dale.
Yeah, all right, Dale.
All right, now
you
can have one more. Last one, Dale.
Wait, you want as we all stare at his little microphone thingy, will he unmute or not?
Will he unmute?
He's talking about he's eating some birdseed. That's what he's doing.
He wants to know if you can talk about. He wants to know if you can talk about the Quebec and Toba homegrown case.
Well, I'm happy to. I'm not counsel on the Quebec case, but the Quebec case is a case called Marie Hall, and it's going to the Supreme Court of Canada. So it was granted what's called leave to appeal, so they're allowed to go argue their case. They're inviting interveners, so that is happening. But I think I was dealing with something this week, so I haven't looked carefully at it. But the deadline, I believe, is July. So, so that case is ongoing. There's a similar case in Manitoba dealing with basically the same issue, the same prohibition in Manitoba. I'm counsel on it along with Kirk Tusaw with a group called Toba Grown, doing wonderful advocacy and wonderful work. An individual named Jesse Lavoie who's brought the case forward. So we're set to argue that in May. I have to be cautious. I can't talk extensively about the case, but obviously, we're hoping to achieve a result that looks more like the trial level decision in Quebec than the Quebec Court of Appeal. And so strategically, when I look at the Quebec case, I'm very troubled by what I describe as the public health obsession around the ruling, because people have been smoking cannabis since time immemorial, and the Supreme Court of Canada has already ruled on that issue and says that it's a generally benign substance, right? That's the Supreme Court of Canada's assessment of the harm. So the Malmo, Levine, Clay, and Kane case, when it went up to deal with that issue, the harm principle in Canadian law, criminal law, said, well, it's relatively benign, but it's not so unharmful that we're going to declare this a constitutional principle. So, the issue for me is that I just find it hilarious that we've legalized this substance, and then suddenly we've got an appellate court in Quebec saying, oh, and by the way, there's all sorts of public health issues associated with cannabis, so we don't want consenting adults to grow for. It's what? Particularly given the history of health problems, mold, mildew, and other commercially produced cannabis coming from the licensed producer system. And again, 9 times out of 10, it's great, but it's not like a perfect system, right? So mistakes can happen anywhere. So, if the risk of whatever harm is minimal. Okay. Anyway, I don't want to ramble, but in any event, I do not agree with.
I was just rambling alarm.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, yeah. But in any event, so I disagree with the Quebec Court of Appeal. I agreed with the trial level decision on the division of powers issue. We're forging ahead, but interested groups in Quebec and in other provinces really ought to apply to intervene on this, because it's an important issue. If you want to, I think it's an important issue if you just believe in liberty and your ability to have a couple plants in your backyard. Give me a break.
Oh, I know. So let's take a quick pee break.
Okay.
I got a song.
But I don't need to pee.
Oh, well, now I don't know what to do. Okay, we're going to take a quick pee break. Marijane asked me to play a song, and even though she's not here, we'll do that.
Yeah, I
anyways.
call bullshit on that.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't play her song because she's not here. That's
kind of my thoughts.
Okay, maybe we won't do a song.
I'm kidding. I don't care.
All right. So this is I Love You, Marijane by, oh, damn it, and I've forgotten.
Cypress Hill?
No. It's by Mr. Garth Cultivator. And this is the 420 Radio Show. We will be back with some more conversations with Mr. Jack Lloyd.
This is a love song that I wrote. It's by my girl that I've been with for years. We've been through some really sticky, icky situations. And this one comes from deep down inside the bottom of my lungs. I'm in love with this girl, Marijane. She runs in different flavors, comes in different strains. Helps me out with pain when I need to relax. All I can think about is purple humble candy sacks. In fact, I'm in the hills doing it big, missing out on gigs just so I can grow twigs. They say that money doesn't ever grow on trees, and I hope you don't believe it, cause I'm right here pushing peace. Please, save your drama for my baby's mama. I'm talking about my girl, Mary, and she wanna have a little fun, watch us all get strong. Man, it's hard to let her go, so I hold her in my lungs. breathe in, breathe out. I'm chilling with my girls up in the greenhouse. Mr. Gar Cultivator is my name, and I wanna introduce you to my lady Mary Jane. Mary Jane's the bud of my life. Mary Jane, I love you, Mary Jane. Mary Jane, will you please be my wife? Mary Jane, I love you, Mary Jane. I love you, Mary Jane. I must admit it, I'm so addicted. You have me lifted. I gotta get it every time that you come through for a little visit. I hit it because I love you. I got a girl that's picky. She thinks that I'm a Ricky, but really to me it's all about Mary Sticky Icky. Roll me up a blizzy. Let's get a hold of Swizzy and let them know as soon as I heard the beat I got busy. I'm just another hippie who wants to keep it tipsy like reggae on the river when you're feeling high and fizzy. Smoke up on a pound until I'm dizzy, then I pass out. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I did it. Now I'm masked out. No doubt, Mary Jane got us bugged out. I've been thugged out since the Cub Scouts rugged out with Chris Powell before my mom sold them pills. Thank pharmaceuticals for having us write early wills. It's all about Mary J. I just sent a pound in the mail next day. Federal Express, I believe it's one way. And if they got a problem, only thing you have to say is Mary Jane's the bud of my life. Mary Jane, I love you, Mary Jane. Mary Jane, will you please be my wife? Mary Jane, I love you, Mary Jane. I love you, Mary Jane. I must admit it, I'm so addicted. You have me lifted. I gotta get it every time that you come through for a little visit. I hit it because I love you. I love the grower, I love the seller, I love the smoker, and you can tell her I'll even need her. Won't be a quitter, won't never beat her, but I always will hit her. That's my girl Mary J, no doubt. Northern California, A, back in your mom's house, smoking out the patch with some peach optimos. I'll throw out more plans when the helicopter goes to a new spot for a hostage. By the way, camp, you can eat a fat sausage. You won't mind it, your own kind. Taste a little swine, sip on wine, everything's fine. I'm here to tell you not to panic. It's not BC chemical, it's humbled organic. And if you don't know any different, you're insane. Try a little kiss from my girl, Mary Jane. Mary Jane's the bud of my life. Mary Jane, I love you, Mary Jane. Mary Jane, will you please be my wife? Mary Jane, I love you, Mary Jane. I love you, Mary Jane. I must admit it, I'm so addicted. You have me lifted. I gotta get it every time that you come through for a little visit. I hit it because I love you.
Hey, Mary Jane Baker. No, I'm Mary Jane Baker. Wait, can we do that again?
Mary Jane Baker, take 27.
Hey, I'm Mary Jane Baker, and you're listening to 420radio.ca.
You're listening to 420radio.ca, Canadian Cannabis Radio.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more. We've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
You want music? Rock, punk, metal, alternative music. The Coverage Radio Show has what you want. Every other Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on 420radio.ca. Hosted by DJ Michael Alvich, bringing you new and retro tunes from both major and independent labels. Only on the Coverage Radio Show. Radio Show. Radio Show.
And we're back. Did everybody's mic? Yeah.
No.
No. There's Len. There's Jack. Oh, sorry, Jack.
That's okay.
So, welcome back. This is the 420 Radio Show, hour number 2. Somebody's counting money. Must be Jack.
Sorry, I had change on my.
He must have just got paid by a client.
It was like it's going in my pocket because I want supper. I haven't eaten yet, so I want my dinner soon.
Do you get paid? Do you ever get paid by change? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever been paid in change.
You know, lawyer. They used to pay with potatoes and stuff like that back in the day. You know, you give your lawyer a couple of potatoes and there's his fee.
Yeah. No, I'm.
Can people pay you in pot?
Open to anything.
Have you ever been paid in pot? No, don't answer that, Jack. Don't answer that.
Do you like hash?
Sorry, buddy. I've known Jack so long, I know I can get away with saying things like that, but I know that on another show you wouldn't get somebody ask him that before. Yeah. I probably know the answer, but anyways. And the person. No, I'm kidding. So like I said, we've got another little while here with Jack. So if you do have any questions and you're listening, please feel free to post them and ask. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to hit Jack with? I like listening to Jack speak. I'm looking forward to coming and hearing you speak this summer, Jack, because it's been too long. Where are you speaking? Are you gonna be doing any of the shows and stuff?
Event.
The what?
Yeah, there's a cannabis event happening sometime in April, and I'm going to speak at it.
Well, Lift is in May.
It's not Lift. Lift is May. I think I know which event he's talking about. We were invited, but we can't make it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the heck it's called.
I've seen it. Is it out in London?
No, it's an event on Good Friday. Oh, that's so stupid. I was supposed to be up north. Anyways, I'm speaking somewhere. I'm always speaking. I do it almost every day.
Well, lawyers tend to do that.
So I thought, if you don't mind, I'll just talk a little bit about, there's a big case in Quebec. So there's a constitutional challenge that will be happening in Quebec that deals with the very early days of cannabis legalization, a constitutional challenge on behalf of patients. And then, so just to give you an update on my litigation, and then there's constitutional challenges ongoing in British Columbia dealing with the what's called the Community Safety Unit there, which is basically the provincial enforcement unit tasked with enforcing their Cannabis Control and Licensing Act. So there's a number of constitutional challenges ongoing there regarding those activities, and then in Ontario, I mounted a constitutional challenge to so in Ontario, if you've been charged with a ticket for cannabis, or technically you can't call it a ticket, it's an information, but if you've gotten a charge for cannabis, say for an unopened container of cannabis, or an opened container of cannabis in your vehicle, or having cannabis readily available in your vehicle, or selling on cannabis at an unlicensed retailer, and you get a ticket and you resolve it, even if you're found innocent, actually, like if you're acquitted, the sheer fact that you've been charged constitutes an absolute barrier to licensure through the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario. So it's kind of an absurdity, and creates a situation where it's preferable to be charged with a far more serious federal criminal offense, because you can be discharged for that. So you can be, even if you're found guilty, you can be not convicted, and if you're discharged, then you're entitled to a license. Whereas
if you're not discharged,
if you get a ticket discharge, the discharge regime doesn't function in the Provincials Offences Act legislation. So if you get with the Cannabis Control Act charge in Ontario, you are barred from owning or being a manager at a licensed cannabis store. So in my submission, that violates the Constitution, because it's a cruel and unusual punishment, and B, it's completely arbitrary, right? Because if the goal of the legislation is to, compliance with the law, really it's just driving people into the black market. So,
we just for the discharge thing, Jack, because I was involved in the lounge stuff that happened in that, and the gal that I won't say her name, but the gal who was actually there when the police came, she got into a situation where she got hired by a cannabis company and let go at the same time because of that charge. Once she told her, they asked if she had any charges, and they told her because there was a charge on her. Now, thank God, everything was dismissed, as you know, and she's gone on with her life. But I know a few other people that it has impacted to the point where they can't even work in the business anymore. And all they were doing was working for a dispensary, or a business.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Now, there's a difference between a legislative bar, which is what my case was dealing with. So it's just you're just statutorily not allowed to. It is
Okay.
There's no discretion. You just cannot have a license. And an employer's decision on whether to employ or not employ. And so that's very unfortunate. So clearly in that situation, the employer just said, this looks messy. We don't want you. And, caused that to happen. That's very unfortunate. But that, it kills me. I hate that they do it. But employers are going to do what they're going to do.
Now, yeah, because I don't think there's anything for working as an LP, you can have a cannabis or drug-related charge and work in an LP. What you probably cannot get is security clearance.
Yeah.
And you can't be, for example, master grower, head of security. I'm an executive, so I have security clearance. They couldn't be the president of an LP. There's restrictions on roles they can take, but technically you can hire any person at an LP they can work in the grow room if they see fit or whatever, but certain roles they can't do.
Somebody's sure getting a lot of messages.
Me. Sorry. Lindsay's requesting a song.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to figure out what song.
I found the song.
That's interesting, though, Len. It's not right. I guess I get it, but it's.
I'll speak for
what?
We fired people with charges.
Back in the 80s, might have even been in the 70s, I had to go to the John Howard Society, okay? And because I got into some trouble. And they always told me, if you are asked by an employer that if you've ever been in charged, and we're talking just regular charges, we're not talking cannabis back then, to say no. So when I went to an interview at Robin Hood Flowers to work in their mailroom, and they asked me if I've ever been charged with a criminal offense, and I looked at him and said, John Howard Society has told me that I don't need to answer that question, and I didn't get the job. Okay. I guess they can't do things like that anymore, eh, Jack? In general, with employer thingies.
I think the concept of John Howard Society isn't that just that's young offenders, isn't it?
No, it's pretty much every offenders. They play the same type of role as the Salvation Army does, basically, helping offenders back into a life.
It's restorative justice, Lennie. We have it down here.
There you go.
Oh, no, I've heard of it, but I always thought it was for young offenders and stuff.
Well, I was a young offender back then, so I'm not so young anymore, and I'm no longer an offender. Besides, I have my lawyer here, so
you're offensive. Sometimes you're offensive.
Sometimes I'm offensive. Yes, I can be offensive.
I sent you a link.
You sent who a link?
You a link.
Yeah, fuck you.
But no, for example, though, Trail Cannabis, we have people that unfortunately have charges against them, and some of them can't work in certain roles.
I've been refused a few jobs because I have a charge on me, but it was from I was 18, right? But does that go away
It comes
ever?
up often with it. I find with license applications, I'll have a client that's 55 years old and they want to open a cannabis store. And I'll say, it's really important. Have you ever been charged? And a lot of people just forget. They're like, oh my God, actually, I got charged for, I stole a goat in college and I got a charge.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And if you don't disclose it, you can get in a lot of trouble, right? Even if there was
we've had a couple old DUIs 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's very easy to forget that it happened. Right?
I was working for Wackenhut Security many years ago, and I had to go get my guard's license. So I went down to the OPP, and I filled out all the paperwork, and I had forgotten. And so at the interview, he said, "Is there anything that you want to tell me?" I said, "No." He says, "You've never been charged with anything before?" And I went, he said, "Do you know there's a warrant out for your arrest?" I said, what? He said,
nice, Al.
for a speeding ticket, one has nothing to do with the other. He says, one's a speeding ticket, the other you were so-and-so. I went, oh, I forgot about that set. But he said, after talking to me, he was like, I get it. I'm going to sign. And I had my I was bonded for a while. So, I think it's at the discretion of whoever's interviewing in that case, but
Huh. But he had a warrant out for you.
Yeah, I didn't know I had a speeding ticket. So he actually made me go pay it. He said, you go pay the ticket, bring the receipt back, and we'll get you your license. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Davey said male offenders.
I was living in a halfway house at the time.
But when it comes to security clearance, Al, that's all discussion on Health Canada too, on how far back they want to search for you, because I've never personally had a charge against me ever, and my security clearance took 18 months to do.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember you going through that. That was stupid.
They really looked in depth, right? So
they crawl up your asshole with a microscope.
Yeah.
So you have to be prepared to have them crawl up your ass with a microscope.
So technically, Jack, I could not go into the legal business because I've got a charge at one time in my life.
No, that's not true.
Oh, okay.
The only blanket prohibition, that's really kind of part of my constitutional challenge.
Yeah.
I could get you a cannabis retail operator license very easily. You've got no charges that will prohibit it.
Yeah,
You've got an extraordinary record, sure, but that's not a barrier to licensure. So
it shouldn't
the Alcohol and Gaming Commission, the Alcohol and Gaming Commission would look at it. They'd probably talk to you about it and say what happened. Okay.
Yeah.
But beyond that, an old record.
I don't remember.
The
Then I got to be honest.
prohibition is if you got a charge after legalization. That's what they're obsessed with.
Yeah. Okay. And also
Al,
that
I already got your store name.
What's that?
Yeah.
Mr.
Notorious
Squishy.
Cannabis.
Mr. Squishy.
Notorious.
Notorious. Mr. Newt. I think there's already many, many Mr. Notoriouses. Thank you. But that, I always thought that was, I understand the whole meaning behind doing that, but when you're talking firsthand to somebody who all they want to do is go into business, it shouldn't, or work for a company. It's just like you shouldn't be held accountable for what you did before you were legally an adult, right? I guess you can.
Well,
I guess.
Holding the cannabis community to a standard that's significantly higher than pretty much any other industry. It's sort of like they refuse to call it a drug, but it's holding them to the standard of like a drug, like a pharmaceutical premises. It's really bizarre. So I have deep issues with the security clearance system in cannabis. I think it's extraordinarily unfair.
I want to change the subject.
I was thinking of an example that
I want to change the subject.
Yeah, we should because this example was kind of harsh.
Well, no, just because we're already getting to 8:30 and we haven't talked about Zoomers yet.
What?
Zoomers. That's the new word. They're calling them Zoomers.
Why?
Mushrooms.
Oh,
They call them Zoomers now.
Why would they call them Zoomers?
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know. Just give me my 0.2 every day. I don't give a fuck. Fuck off and leave me alone. Where are we with that, Jack? This is another one of Jack's favorite subjects.
Okay, well, I do love talking about psilocybin. So there's been no the major change that happened as far as psilocybin regulation is concerned is an amendment to what's called the Special Access Program, which is an exemption program for psilocybin that allows you to basically it's only in emergencies. That's the government's language.
They changed
to basically get an exemption to access psilocybin. Previously, people were accessing using Section 56 of the CDSA, and so a great number of sick people were able to do that successfully, which is wonderful. But it's looking like now the federal government is saying, no, you have to use the SAP.
We want more research.
Go to your doctor. Huh?
They want more research.
Well, that's part of it, but much more so, they only want to provide it if it's an emergency. So it's going to create another bottleneck. So, I'm sure litigation is forthcoming regarding the constitutionality of the blanket prohibition on psilocybin access. So, the fight is coming, but we're not there yet. So really what's happened is a minor loosening of some access rules for extremely sick people.
Mm-hmm.
But I think empirically what we're going to find is that the program doesn't work and it's not going to provide the type of access that people require. And
just like cannabis.
One of the reasons that I think that's a big problem is that psilocybin has, it has very strong scientific support showing that it's an effective tool to help people dealing with serious mental health issues. And we're in the midst of a serious mental health crisis in this country. It was certainly exacerbated by the COVID pandemic. I think homes, for as long as they were locked in their homes, had a very serious consequence on people's mental well-being. And so I do think we're sort of in a crisis point over this issue. So you're starting to see, widespread use of psilocybin microdoses, and people are experiencing health benefits from that. But, absent a change in the law, all of them are violating sections 4 and their providers are violating Section 5 of the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act. So we're right back in the same situation we were in with cannabis. So,
and now, I don't care either. I don't care.
Part of and so the fight goes on. So I do anticipate litigation in that area, and I want to, the law as not complying with Section 7 of the Charter. My concern is if psilocin, so synthetically derived psilocin or a similar chemical salt that really isn't connected to the fruiting body of psilocybin producing mushroom. I am distrustful of derivative medicine of that nature. I'm comfortable with it with cannabis because it's derived from the cannabis plant, but like chemical salt derivations that are overly synthetic make me nervous.
So I don't want to do synthetics anyways. I want to do the real thing.
And so the government is obviously much more comfortable with synthetics, and so that this is a source of litigation because you have the vast majority of natural plant medicine people that who are interested in the fruiting body. Like they want to eat it or take the fruiting body and make a tea with it, make some food with it, however they want to consume it, or they want to grind it up, put it in a micro cap and consume it with some other nutrients, right? Microdose for themselves. In general, people that are interested in sort of medicine like that are very uninterested in synthetics. And so I think that if we have a legalization that is synthetics only, it may not provide the benefit to the people that need and want it the most, right? Which are people that are more interested in the fruiting bodies and psilocybin that's just grown naturally and consumed naturally the same way we've been consuming 80,000 years. So.
Wow. You know what? I'm 58 years old. I was a case study at the Hinks Clinic in Toronto as a kid for hyperactivity children. I'm on disability for ADHD and a mood disorder and PTSD, and I have been very flat out honest about it. Psilocybin is the only thing that has stopped my depression. Not completely, but it makes it manageable. I lost my mom. I went through that. If I had not had mushrooms going through my mom's death, I would not have made it myself. That's how much they've helped me. And I know a lot of other friends who are getting into the senior citizens years of their age who are turning to cannabis and psilocybin or psilocybins to help get through the life that we've been given now. You know.
Well, I absolutely agree, and I find it very interesting that you had this massive research going on in the psilocybin space in the 60s, looking into all of these so that the benefits that people have experienced. More people could experience them, obviously, but then there was a stark shutdown of that. I feel almost as if like the research now that's coming through the universities is in a sense driven by the black market underground, because like in I think it was 1990, this guy started writing under a pseudonym. I'm like fascinated with with publishing, because of course I've edited the book called the Psilocybin Mushroom Bible, which I've
seen but still don't have a copy.
Sorry, yeah, but it's a wonderful book, and basically dealing with PF tech, which is like sort of the innovation that came out in the early 90s regarding psilocybin cultivation. Basically like how to grow psilocybin cubensis easily at home using vermiculite and rice flour and making like cakes to grow with. And that's basically like, I think, created this whole movement of people that were producing it very easily for themselves all across Canada, the United States, and around the world, and then experimenting with it and saying like, wow, like I'm experiencing like incredible benefits from psilocybin doing this, and it's helping me with appetite issues, it's helping me with anxiety issues, it's helping me with treatment-resistant depression. And slowly all these people that were just interested in growing psilocybin for themselves, because all of these innovations were happening from the black market cultivation side of things, and people were sharing. He called himself like psilocybe fanaticus, and he had a blog and stuff. I remember reading it, and so all these people started sharing it, but then they all got jobs at universities, right? Like they're smart people, and so suddenly, like people that were secretly really into this had high-level positions at research labs and things like that. And that's, in my view, why suddenly we started seeing all these highly capable people talking in the ears of extremely senior, educated PhDs at MIT and Johns Hopkins. This innovation, like it wasn't born, like the academic side of things shut it down. They said, we're not looking at psychedelics anymore. It's all done. You're just drug addicts. Get out of here.
Yeah.
The Timothy Leary thing, they said, like, screw you guys with your psilocybin. Get out of here. The university's not interested. And so the innovation came from like our community, which was just people that were like, oh, cool. I could inoculate it using like a inoculation machine, and I can make my own substrate, and then I can grow it under my kitchen sink, keeping it clean. Like it's fascinating, and they people were doing it and sharing information with one another over the internet. Then they went to university, right, and they had that knowledge from the underground, right? So it's so beautiful to me, because it's it's fungi, right? Like anyway, there's a symbiotic way to it that is so beautiful to me. So anyway, the research is incredible. It's it's super supportive of a constitutional challenge. And it just makes me so happy that it's flowing, in my view anyway, it's flowing from the underground mycologist community that basically invented this wonderful way to produce small amounts of psilocybin for yourself at home.
Yeah, and you can get kits very, very readily on the internet.
Yeah, I think it was in a 1991 issue of High Times, and I have a copy of it at the Green Candy Press offices. And this Robert McPherson was his name. And so nobody had done a book on psilocybin for like 10 years, and so since like 2009 or something, I was complaining. I said, I want to do a book about psilocybin. Someone's got to do it.
Have you got a copy you can hold up?
Sure, man. I'll give you a copy. No problem. And anyway, so finally I did it.
No, I meant hold a copy up so people can see it, Jack. Do you have one there?
One sec. One sec. I'll find a copy.
All right. Sure, I'll take one, but that's not what I meant. We need some music while we're waiting for Jack. Just a sec. I've got some. Look, they've added some stuff here.
I sent you a link for a song that Lindsay wanted.
Oh, let's play that. When Jack comes back, we will continue our conversation about psilocybin and stuff. I'm just going to load it up. I'm sure he won't mind. And I've got it here. I don't know either. But
sorry, Lindsay. Now I know what you meant when you said play a song for me. I thought Al was playing a song, and you meant, oh, you're playing a song for me. Sorry about that.
3:49.
Okay, this is for Lindsay. Here you go. And when Jack comes back, we'll continue our conversation.
Yep.
Can't explain all the feelings that you're making me feel. My heart's in overdrive and you're behind the steering wheel. Touching you, touching me, touching you, God, you're touching me. I believe in a thing called love. Just look into it with my heart. With a chance we can make it now. We're looking till the sun goes down. I believe in a thing called love. I wanna kiss you every minute, every hour, every day. You got me in a spin, but everything is okay. Touching you, touching me, touching you, God, you're touching me. I believe in a thing called love. Just look into it with my heart. With a chance we can make it now. We're looking till the sun goes down. I believe in a thing called love. Get down. Touching you, touching me, touching you, God, you're touching me. I believe in a thing called love. Just look into it with my heart. With a chance we can make it now. We're looking till the sun goes down. I believe in a thing called love.
That's a lot of hair. That was a
Everyone's
lot.
just kind of sitting there speechless.
That was a lot of hair.
That's a lot of hair.
Guy has some vocal range.
Yeah, that hurt my ears a little bit, just a little bit.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
know.
Lindsay,
Yeah.
we might not be letting you play that game anymore.
Thanks, Lindsay.
You guys never heard the darkness before?
I
That
think,
is the darkness, yeah.
I think maybe
that is the
Jack
darkness.
got lost. He had to go to the office to get a book.
I can
interesting story, COVID related. You see, they won't really, WHO won't approve the Quebec COVID vaccine because it's got ties to the tobacco industry.
No.
Yeah, simple. That's the only reason. It's actually interesting. I heard of this company about 5 years ago. They were doing studies on flu shots made from it. And because they basically use the tobacco to grow as the media, the tobacco leaf as the media to grow the virus and the vaccine components. Anyway, it works quite well, apparently.
Geez, can't have something that works.
Well, it's just funny. Like it is approved in Canada, but it's sort of useless, right? Because it's not a recognized vaccine around the rest of the world.
Yeah.
But it's just funny how the WHO is like, no, go on it, because they're a Quebec-based company. They're not a big Pfizer or something like that. Anyway, just
okay. So there's companies that are making serums and stuff like that, and that they can't sell them.
There's a clinic in Truro that are doing trials all the time.
Yeah, they specialize in all kinds of a lot of it's vaccines, but not just it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're always looking for volunteers to go in and try out vaccines.
Deb says to watch the Fantastic Fungi. I'm halfway through it, Deb. I just haven't resumed it yet. I'd like to have him on the show, Pete. Is it, Paul Stamets, I think his last name is. Marcel, isn't it?
Don't know. I forget the show.
There's Jack.
I watched it.
Sorry, buddy.
I'm sorry, guys. I can't find a copy. My house is a bit of a mess right now.
That's okay, buddy.
Now I have just books everywhere, but
standing behind the pile
every book but the one we wanted to see. So I'm super sorry.
That's okay. You have to turn your focus off thingy because it's all. But that's okay.
Yeah.
Or hold.
There's the one you were talking about, Cannabis Grow Bible, and then Marijuana 101, which is Lee's wonderful book.
Yeah,
that Grow Bible's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good, very good book. Yeah.
Can't really see them because your video's choppy, buddy. But you know what? Thank you for playing along. Sorry. Now he doesn't know where to put them now. Let's all watch Jack Lloyd
was that
get
a complete
confused.
guidebook to something?
Pardon?
I saw the black and yellow. I was like, is that the complete idiot guidebook to something?
No, was a book I did called Marijuana Daily Gardening.
Oh, it looks like the Max. It looks like the For Dummies books,
doesn't it?
Yeah.
That was a fun book. He did fluorescent gardening, and then just like every day, he showed you how to do it each day. It was like my response to Ed Rosenthal's grow a pound easy or whatever. So I liked mine better. I thought it was better organized. But
how many books did you edit so far? Have you edited?
I don't know.
A lot, eh? At one time, Green Candy Press was the only one doing cannabis books. Like what do you call? What were you calling them back then? Table books? Were they called table books?
Coffee table.
Coffee table books. Yeah.
Well, we were the only one that was like obsessed with image quality in the books. But Ed Rosenthal was always doing them. George Van Patten was always doing them. There was a couple others where they would do like Robert Connell Clark published with Mel Frank. You know what I mean? Like Mel. Green Candy Press was like a publishing company that did cannabis books. They were like cannabis guys that sort of had a publishing company.
Yeah.
Because like we did other stuff, right? And I think that's why, because they had a psilocybin book, but I think like we did well with the psilocybin book because like nobody had done a psilocybin book before where they said like we're just going to make this into an excellent book, and we're going to treat it like a gardening book. That was my whole thing. Like my shtick was when you read one of mine, you'll think, oh, it's a book about how to grow roses, except that it's all cannabis, like high quality images, like because our community deserves books that are just as good as some ranges or whatever the hell.
Well, like Professor Lee's book was literally 101. It was, he took notes through, I don't know, I can't remember how many years, but he took notes of everything he did and wrote a book. And so it's from the layman. It's not scientific. It's this is what he did. This is what worked for him. This is what didn't work for him. And back then we needed books like that. So now you have what's the new one called? The psilocybin one?
The Psilocybin Mushroom Bible, and then the Psilocybin Chef Cookbook is the latest.
That's the newest one. Yeah, you were just getting ready to put that out, I think, when you were on last year.
Yeah, it's out now. People seem to be enjoying it.
So where do you get them? Tell us where people can get them.
Basically, we're all good booksters. We're all booksters. Head shops carry them in Canada and the United States. If you're in Europe, then Turnaround Publishing Distribution carries them, and then finally, obviously Amazon carries them, and then Chapters Indigo carries them.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're in every bookstore.
Yeah, and if you're in the Campbellford area, you can get one at the Bongs and Dongs place there at Campbellford Lifestyle Shop.
Wayne has them.
Wayne had a couple, and then he had one. I think he's still got one left. I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. That's where I've seen it.
I just did this frantic thing around my whole damn house. It's everything's torn to crap now.
Sorry, buddy.
I can't get that book. That's okay. I think I gave it to my dad. But anyway, I'll get another copy.
Debbie, you need to come and say hello. You haven't been on in a while. Just saying. Debbie Stiltgiffen is listening. She's making comments.
They want you to go to Harvest. They want you to come down for Harvest Fest.
They want
Jack.
you to come to Harvest Fest, Jack.
Oh, that'd be fun. That would be fun. I got to go to BC and run a bunch of trials. When's Harvest Fest?
August.
I don't know.
August 12th and 13th.
I'll try. I will try.
That would be awesome.
Cool, man.
So we've got 10 minutes, and I want people to know where, if you need Jack's expertise, he has a few places where you can get a hold of him.
Oh, absolutely. So if you'd like to get in touch with me, as I am a lawyer, of course, but I'm not giving legal advice today, obviously.
No, he's
but,
off today.
I do everything through word of mouth in general. So I don't have a website, but you can contact me. So I work with John Conroy, and he's got a website, so you can just contact him. That's my office. I share an office with Mr. Conroy. Or I'm on Twitter, Jack Lloyd Lawyer on Twitter. Or basically, just call my office and you'll get a hold of me.
Yeah. Google him. You'll find
me on
him.
Facebook. I'm pretty easy to get in touch with.
Google Jack Lloyd. 2 L's.
Yeah.
Well, it's always fun having you, Jack. We need to do it more often, not wait a year in between.
Oh, well, this was fun. Thank you so much for having me on. That was super fun, man.
Always a pleasure.
We love having you on, Jack.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is there anything else that anybody else wants to say before we say goodbye?
No, just that we'll have Jack on before Harvest Fest to give him that reminder.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm happy to come back. I'm ready to rock.
And I'll let you know when that concert is, buddy.
Sweet. Sounds good.
Hopefully,
and I'll let you know when to go scuba diving, Jack.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. I got all sorts of fun stuff to do
There
now.
you go. Lots of plans. Lots of plans.
Darcy,
What?
you should thank Jack for being on because you got to miss out on your grow segments and you probably didn't have anything to talk about.
We have 2 minutes or a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Let's go with.
Actually, I was going to do some sprouting, but now I can wait till next week, so that's even better.
Sprouting next week. You heard it here first. Sprouting.
Yeah.
Darcy's going to sprout next week.
He's going to
I
sprout.
got a shit ton of seeds sprouting, so I can do a bunch of select picking. So
Where'd you get the seeds?
I've had them for 20 years. There, I figure I get grandfathered in with them. I took them seeds and made new strains.
That's right.
Hey Jack, not my first rodeo.
There you go.
I like everything I'm hearing. Good.
There you go. All right, guys, this is the 420 Radio Show. Thanks for listening. We're here next week. We have some people rounded up that Marijane has put together. I don't have any information on that right now. But
Those randos.
No, it's
not random
420
people.
celebration
That's
going
right.
to be happening.
So that brings me to, if you're doing a 420 thing, let us know so we can tell people about it. Don't care where you are. There you go. How's that a plug? Is that a plug?
I'm going to get it for you. I'm going to get it.
Okay.
I'm almost
You getting
there.
it? TikTok.
Oh, yeah, sure. What? That was
He's
cool.
putting a clock on you.
All right.
Yeah, because your 8 minutes and pouring down rain never happened, Marcel.
Yeah, you totally fucked that up.
HushChicago.com. They're having a huge event to celebrate 420, and the event is called Make It Sexy.
Cool. So they'll be here next week to talk about that.
I guess they're going to make cannabis sexy.
I guess we're going to talk about sex next week.
Well, I mean,
That'll be
you
fun.
always make cannabis sexy when you trim it.
Fair
It's like
enough.
taking off all those excess clothes that you don't need.
Hey, Marcel.
Get right down to that. But yeah, sorry, dude.
Say goodnight.
Good night, people.
Thanks, Jack.
Hey, this is Cheech. This is Chong. And you're listening to Lifestyle Radio. What is it? Lifestyle Radio. Say it one more time. 420 Radio? Woo!
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Are you an independent musician? How would you like to have your songs played on?
Oh, shut up.
So what are you doing? Nothing. Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.